There was some interesting points brought up by Dwight York, Chris, we had on the show on the weekend, and he was very passionate about the lack of unity in the Manchester United dressing room. And it just got me thinking of an article you wrote, which we will talk about later, about the unity in the Newcastle dressing room. Do you think it's that simple? Do you think it's a question of their players not playing for each other? Because they're all outstanding players. You don't play for Manchester United if you're a poor player. I mean, they spend a lot of money, and they are spending a lot of money on wages week in, week out.
I don't think it's quite as simple as that, but I do think that sort of as strange as it sounds to have to create that sort of environment, you hear so many coaches at top levels in all sports talk about the culture, and it can seem cliched in many ways. But when you're in the sort of very top level of sport, very top level in the Premier League, and you're competing against other teams who also have very good players, you need everything and everyone to be aligned. It's that extra few percentages you can get. And at Manchester United, it just feels like something isn't quite right there. And I think that the doubt creeps in when obviously they haven't had, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer left, they had an interim, and now they've got an interim, and it's difficult to know what's going to happen going forward. Players don't know where they stand. They don't know about their future and the club's future. And just when these doubts start to creep in, when everything isn't sort of focused on this is the singular goal, this is what we're trying to achieve, this is the direction the club's going in, I think that can fragment. And then that's when these issues probably do start to arise more. I'm sure if Rangnick had come in and Manchester United had won a lot of matches, then even if there was some of this discontent, it wouldn't have come so much to the fore, or players would have been able to put some of their feelings behind them. But it just feels like an unhappy place at the moment. It just feels like the team are playing like I think most people look at the club and think that it looks at externally when you look at the issues that they have, the fact that there doesn't seem to be a long-term plan, or at least there isn't a clear long-term plan. There's obviously the Cristiano Ronaldo situation, and I sound like I'm speaking after the fact about this, but I was there for Cristiano Ronaldo's first match back. They beat Newcastle and he scored twice. And actually after the match, I spoke to a few people and I said, I don't think this is going to work, Ronaldo. Even though he scored twice, the whole team the whole day was about Ronaldo and Ronaldo scoring, and he seemed to immediately disrupt the way the Man United were playing. I remember one moment in the first half where Jadon Sancho went to make a run, and Ronaldo ran in front of him and told him to run somewhere else because he wanted to be in that position. And it's sort of changing that, and that's a very simplistic way of looking at it. I haven't watched Manchester United every week, but I just think little things like that where you unsettle the long-term plan was not necessarily to have Cristiano Ronaldo come in there, and I don't think he's come in and necessarily benefited the way that the team wants to play in the long-term style that there was in terms of a counter-attacking style. So yes, I think it's probably a little bit too simplistic in that way, but equally those small margins make such a difference in that very top level, particularly when you're playing a side as efficient and ruthless as Manchester City.
Okay.
I was just going to say that there's so much desire with this Manchester United argument, this debate that's been going on for years now. People want a simple answer. Is it unity? Is it Ronaldo? Is it Pogba? Is it the manager? Is it Harry Maguire? And they're all issues. There are so many different issues. There are so many weaknesses in the club, which has been run really poorly by the Glazers. I think you can say that it all relates back to that. But it's, I think the word Chris used about culture, I think the culture, which was so right for so many years under Sir Alex Ferguson, the culture is now so wrong. And you've got a team that is so much less than the sum of its parts. And just to go back to the point that Chris made about the interim issue, I remember watching Chelsea win a Champions League under an interim manager 10 years ago. I remember Chelsea reaching a Champions League final under an interim manager, Avram Grant, in 2008. Solskjaer got the job on the basis of their brilliant performances under an interim manager. And it just seems like it's an excuse being used by certain United players at the moment. I can see that Rangnick hasn't exactly captured the imagination of some of those players, but they've had so many different managers that they've underperformed for. I feel sorry for Rangnick rather than feeling sorry for the players. I think the players deserve most of them deserve no sympathy whatsoever.
Yeah. We've run out of time in this segment, but I have to mention an article which Ollie wrote, which involves Real Madrid, why there's such a big lure for players and tying it in the futures of Mbappe and Haaland. But I noticed, Ollie, you did mention Manchester United in the article, and Liverpool and Manchester City and their transfer approaches, didn't you? getting younger players in and then developing them into superstars. United, they've tried that with your Maguires and Wan-Bissakas. They've also got established stars like Ronaldo, and nothing seems to be working. So it does pose a lot of questions about the appeal of Manchester United for players moving forward and what approach they should take.